What if it's too hard?
I'm gonna push through.
What if it's too rough?
I'm gonna push through.
What if it's too tough?
I'm gonna push through.
What if you're just too young?
That's not true.
What if you're not good enough?
That's not true.
Why? Because
I can do anything I put my mind to.
I believe in you.
Shut up.
Believe in yourself.
Hey, hi.
Tell me why.
We push through anything we put our minds to.
What's going on, world? Thank you guys for tuning in to A Connection TV, the one channel on YouTube where we actually adopt similar connections despite our differences, and welcome to Culture Clubb. Like we do on every episode, what we're going to do again is reintroduce ourselves. We're going to state our name and our biggest regret in life, starting from the right to the left.
Hi, everybody. My name is David. My biggest regret in life was my second ex-boyfriend.
Okay.
My name is Chris Williams. My biggest regret in life, I think I wish I had spent more time like really engaging one of my favorite aunts, which passed away. You know, I feel like there was a lesson in that, but I wish that I would have seized more time with that.
Hello everyone, my name is Olivia. If Wes asked me this question 2 years ago, I'd have an answer. And today I would say that I'm comfortable enough to not have any regrets. That everything that has happened that I didn't wish happened was such a great learning lesson, and I wouldn't be the person I am today without them. So, no regrets.
Interesting. I am Wesley, and she just fueled my response. But I will say that I'm kind of like the opposite, because one of my biggest regrets is not taking advantage of the 14 years that I lived in New York. And I really wish that I had, in terms of what I wanted to do with my entertainment field and in that industry, because I would love to know at 35 what that Wesley would be like versus the Wesley that's here today.
Yeah, my name is Levi Eric. That's similar to my regret, which would be to not have embraced myself earlier in life, and it took me a while to gain self-confidence and to start pursuing the things that I want to do, and I just wish I had started that a lot earlier.
My name is Dontez Davis. I would say the biggest regret would be probably the way that my kid's mom found out I was gay. That was the biggest regret. I apologize.
So what do y'all think Usher's biggest regret is?
Getting caught. Because I don't think anything, no. Getting caught, because come on. Let's be real. He would still be fucking bitches raw.
So
I mean, this is a last, so we can't say yes. So.
Okay.
So do you think that Usher has herpes?
Just started.
I want you to love
Do you think that Usher has herpes?
Probably.
Probably.
If he's been fucking bitches in Atlanta, probably.
Because you know everybody wants the storyline these days, but then I'm like, dang. I just don't know. I'm hoping he does it and he can like prove himself otherwise. I'm a Usher fan. No, I love me some Usher. You say what you want about it, but I'm rooting for Usher.
And according to the reports now, he loves you too, boo.
Well, he's been, okay, so, nothing's been confirmed.
Child, he live in Atlanta, he black.
But I know of a couple of individuals that have said that they had sex with him and that they piped him down, and he has good pipe or whatever. But, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot to be known as Usher and then known as the guy that possibly, allegedly, has herpes, and then to have these three individuals, because it's now 2 women and a man, coming after you with a lawsuit, multi-million-dollar lawsuit at that. It's very interesting though, these people are going after him for money, but 2 of the individuals want to remain anonymous, especially the guy. So what do you think about that? Do you think that that's fair that they get to attack him like that and ask for all that money and to say that they received herpes from them, but they can remain anonymous?
Yes. I think it's cool because, like you said, when he did the first lawsuit, whatever, it was disclosed, so nobody supposed to know. So he did it one way. Why they can't do it one way? So
okay. All right.
Okay. So before I cast a spell and knock the camera over, so I'm gonna be the pretentious asshole and say that I don't think that his having or not having an STD is really any of our business, and that we shouldn't be like STD shaming people because I'm sure every one of us at this table has had some type of STD.
No.
Well, not at all?
He's
okay.
Fast.
No, sir.
We'll get back to Dontez.
I was
Actually, I've not, like in real life.
What, you've never had an STD?
I've never had an STD.
What?
Ever in life. Ever.
Okay, well, I've had one, and luckily it was a curable one, so it's, you know, some herpes is the gift that just keeps giving. That you don't want to have, so it's horrible, but I don't think we should STD shame anyone for no matter what the STD is. Secondly, I think it's complete bullshit and money grab and like just sad that this person is, or a group of individuals are going after him for an STD. Just because he's a celebrity.
No. Stop, pause. So if you had no money, if you had $5 and you knew you had an STD and you willingly had sex with me and you did not disclose that to me, that's a problem. That's a big problem. And that's the issue.
You would sue for that $5?
I don't give a damn. I would have a problem with you. I'm gonna fight you. I would sue her. I would do everything just because I'm like, you put me in a position and you didn't give me a choice. I might have been able to been down for that, but I might not have. But you didn't give me a choice, and now you've affected my life.
Okay, so I feel like for me that sounds. Hold on. This sounds like rape. You know, if it's like no. If it's like you didn't give me a choice because it takes two people to have sex and both people should actively be mindful of what they know or do not know about the other person. So it's their responsibility. So to your question earlier, I feel like it's not fair that they can remain anonymous, you know, going into that situation. Like, it's just as much your responsibility to know, you know, what you're doing sexually and what the consequences are.
Thank you. It's just what you just said is like contradicting the fact that they should be able to sue because it's both parties' responsibility.
Exactly.
And this isn't something that happens in the real world. Like when normal people don't sue each other over getting herpes.
That's not true.
Just does not happen.
That's not true. Okay, so in New York, that's not true. In New York, there was this case with this guy. In New York, there was this case with this guy. I remember because I was in high school. There was this case with this guy, and he actually, not herpes, it was AIDS. He knowingly was giving these young girls AIDS, and he knew
AIDS, and he was maliciously doing it.
So how do you know that Usher wasn't maliciously doing it? Are you in Usher's head? Do you know?
I think Usher was probably drunk or fucked up, having fun.
So we're giving him grace, but we're not giving this other guy
grace. The other person, if they did not want those diseases, should have made sure that they wore protection, that they were taking precautions.
Come on now.
It's like
that's not fair. You're the one who has the disease, and you're not saying anything. That's not fair.
Okay, that's not fair.
You're the one who's putting your sexual health in the hands of somebody else. You're trusting that they are going to be responsible for your sexual health. You have to be responsible for your sexual health.
That's unfair.
So then let me ask this question.
That's unfair.
Let me ask the panel this question. Hold on one second. Let me ask the panel this question. If I have HIV and you and I are talking or whatever, and you do not ask me any health questions whatsoever, and I do not disclose that information at all, am I at fault? That's what I'm asking the panel.
Go ahead. I want to hear because you said no.
Let's go around. Okay, so go ahead. What do you say?
I believe you're both at fault.
No,
okay, so go ahead.
No,
what do you say?
The person who does not disclose is at fault.
Okay, so my response to that is, If you're having sex with somebody, it is your responsibility to ask all of those questions before you have sex with them. If you choose not to ask those questions, then that person does not have to disclose that information because that is pertinent information.
That's very dangerous. Come on now. That's not cool.
I think they share responsibility. One party might be more guilty than the other, but you're both responsible for taking care of your sex.
Here's my thing about it.
Hold on, wait, let's get to that. Let's get to that.
If you knowing that you have HIV or some type of disease, that you should tell that person, regardless of the fact that they have the right not to know, or if they didn't have.
Well, that's not a question that you should. The question is
by law, and it's by law that if you have something, that's why Usher, he can get criminal. That's why they rather go civil, because he don't want to go to jail. So that's why maybe in the first case he was criminal, but he decided to go civil. So so most people who celebrities, they do end up being civil versus criminal.
Here's the thing. Here's the reality of everything. People get drunk and have one-night stands and the next day don't remember what the fuck nobody said. So if you have the balls to go and fuck somebody, no protection, no questions asked, no nothing, and something like that happens to you, yes, it's sad, yes, it's tragic, yes, this is like life-altering. But you knew the risks that were involved. I don't know about y'all, but I got sex education when I was 12 years old. There's no way in hell something like that could happen to me and I can say, oh, well, I didn't know what was involved or I trusted this person. Like, come on, you know better.
That's taking too much responsibility off of the person who knows that. So the person who knows, the person who knows that they have any kind of anything. Shit, I be telling people from the gate, look, this was wrong with me.
There's people that don't know what they have.
Like, come on, like, no. The fact of the matter is, we're not talking about somebody who doesn't know. I'm talking about somebody who does.
But the results are the same.
No. I am specifically talking to, in the universe, I'm specifically talking to the people who actually know that they have an STD. I don't care what STD it is. Right. You know you have something, and you know that you have something that is, life-altering and perhaps non-curable. There is a responsibility of that person. That person cannot just say, oh, I was drunk. No, you have a responsibility. I'm sorry. The same way that I have a responsibility in relationships that I have to tell somebody, no, lie.
Remember, because you was drunk as well.
Okay, the thing is, if he didn't tell, then that's on me. But the fact of the matter is that person is absolutely responsible for being able to communicate that. I'm sorry. That person is absolutely responsible.
And I'm sorry, if you don't want to catch anything,
so you're putting it on the person who's
precautions necessary to keep yourself intact.
No.
That's it.
But based on what you're saying, that's the reason why everybody is getting is because nobody's disclosing what they have.
Right.
Let me tell you, because they aren't protecting themselves. Well, let me take responsibility for themselves. You're putting it on a stranger. Oh, I just met you. Let me put my life in your hands. Here you go. You can tell me anything.
No. That's very irresponsible. That's very irresponsible.
On who?
It's very irresponsible on the person who actually has something that they know that they can give to
I'm gonna give you a story.
That's like me walking around with pink eye and not telling y'all that I got pink eye.
I'm gonna give you a story.
But we can see the pink eye.
So I met this guy at the club. He's beautiful, bootylicious. Everything about him is great. We go home, have sex. We never have the STD talk or whatever. In the midst of us having sex, the condom broke. I immediately felt that the condom broke, pulled out, put a new condom on, checked my dick, nothing was wrong, blah, blah, went back in, handled business. And as we're driving away from the situation, I decide to then have an STD talk because I'm like, oh wait, the condom broke. Let me find out. I should have asked way before we even decided to have sex. It was like years and years ago. So I asked him, I was like, what's your STD status? He said, oh, I'm positive. I said, what? In my head, I'm like, what the? Did he fucking just say what I thought he fucking said? But my response immediately after that was, it's my fault. It's not his fault. It's my fault. I should have had this conversation with him before even engaging in sex with him. So of course, immediately after I had this conversation with him at the fact that he's positive, I asked him, the next question was, are you on your meds? Because that's something that's very important nowadays. Are you on your meds? He said yes, he takes his medicine all the time, he's consistent, blah, blah, blah. His viral load is low. that kind of made me not worry too much about it, but I was still stressed. And then I tell you, I went on prep. After that, I went through the 30-day regimen and all of that just to make sure. But I ended up fine. But at the same time, I said that story. I mentioned that story to say this. I feel, once again, it is your responsibility to ask all of those questions before you lay down with someone. Because no one in this world owes you a motherfucking thing. Period. So if you want to make sure that you do not walk away from a situation with a situation, you need to ask questions.
I think I agree with you, yes, that there is a responsibility as a person who is laying down. And to both of you,
Right.
the person who knowingly has sex with someone unprotected, because see, this is a different situation, you were protected.
Yeah.
And you were the one who said, oh shit, the condom broke, I can feel that the condom broke,
Right.
and they put a new one on.
Right.
So it's not like Holmes who walked into the situation with you and y'all was having like bareback shit. You know what I'm saying? Now, if that happened, I would not be in like, oh, you were wrong and you should have asked the question. I would not feel like that. I'm like, how this motherfucker gonna lay down with you and he know and he don't say nothing to you?
So
There's one thing if y'all
you are, because like if you have sex with somebody in an unprotected manner, then you have implied that there's no reason to protect yourself from that person. You have already said, well, there's, you know, this is an assumed
I'm okay, you're okay, we good.
Assumed consent, you know, that we're both good.
Okay.
You know? But if you are using protection, then you're applying that. You have to protect yourself on your own, in your own regard. And I think that it's very important for you to have that, you know, within your own, like you have to put that in your own hands.
So why is it illegal for a person who has HIV and if somebody else catches it or something like that?
Yeah.
Why is it illegal?
So let's get this clear, because I'm very unclear on it. Is the illegal part you not disclosing the information when asked or when not asked? What is the illegal part?
Before you have sexual contact
Can we
with
look
a person,
that up?
let's look it up. Before you have sexual contact with a person, if you knowingly know that you have said,
whether they ask or not, it's still illegal.
You're supposed to disclose. Now, that is in the state of New York.
Right. It's
Whether
The Georgia Coalition
I don't
to
know.
End HIV Criminalization is lobbying for changes such as replacing HIV-specific language in the law with more, such as, I don't understand what this is saying. This is not it.
So it's like we're doing this. It's like we're talking about living in the real world versus living in an ideal world. Yes, in the ideal world when everybody's perfect and just and everybody's walking around here like Sister Mary Clarence, yes, everybody's going to disclose everything they have. In the real world,
no, that's not an ideal world. That's not an ideal world. That should be the real world. If you I'm going to tell you, anybody in the universe that is watching this, if you knowingly have anything and you don't disclose that to someone and you decide to lay down with another person, especially in an unprotected space, that is vile. That is the most vile thing you can do.
I agree.
I'd rather you have 5 boyfriends than, you know, you do that. That is vile. I'm sorry.
We're not going to sit here and pretend like a lot of people in our community aren't HIV positive. And I think what's very important before we go out there and say this is vile or
I've said it. And I stand to it.
Okay.
The same way that I can be able to have an honest conversation.
This is going to be the issue, okay?
Go ahead.
We have to present different points, okay?
Go ahead.
So, what is very important that we do is that we take responsibility for our own sexual health, because there's something that is even more dangerous than something that's vile, and it's called stigma. And it's very important that you don't isolate a group in a manner that you call them vile.
And the thing is that I didn't say people who have, okay, go ahead.
Yes, because you call a large population vile and then you expect them to be able to.
I did not. What I said was, if you do not disclose it, you are vile, and I'm not taking that back. If you do not disclose it and you lay down with someone, I'm not saying you don't do, if you're on a date, that's fine, you're on a date. I'm not asking you to give everybody a whole, like, here's my bill of health. I'm not asking that. But if you actually have sex with someone, yes, I am going to put the judgment on you. I will do that. I will do that.
Can we flip the coin real quick?
Dontez, you have children, right?
Yeah.
Are you going to teach your children that no matter who you had sex with, they should disclose everything that they have going on with them before they lay down, and they shouldn't take that precaution to protect themselves anyway, regardless of what nobody says?
First, my kids is not gonna have sex until they're married, for one.
Oh no.
For two, I would say this is the reason why I think the HIV STD is high, because you quote unquote not placing the blame on the person. This is what I'm saying.
Oh, wow.
If you normally know that you have something, you have sex with somebody, then you're trifling. That's different of not knowing. I can understand that situation. Y'all both didn't know. That's different. But if you know that you got
So what about knowing what's out
So
there?
it says right here, it is appropriate to factor in that they are exposing another person to the harm of contracting HIV, but those are kind of a rare exception that can be criminalized under general criminal laws. To focus on HIV in particular is problematic. That's because hepatitis and other infectious diseases can also be transmitted through sexual contact, he said. It's really going around. It's not even really stating whether or not. But I didn't know that in the 80s a law was passed that if you had HIV and you spat gum, if you were chewing gum and had HIV and spat gum at someone, that's illegal. So it's really dancing all over the place. It's not really stating as far as today. Georgia is one of 32 states with HIV criminalization laws. Colorado and Iowa recently. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I can't find it. Go ahead.
When it comes to STDs, health, things are going to change over time. So as far as, you know, medication, when it came to gonorrhea and chlamydia and stuff, they weren't curable at one point. Now they are curable. So what we have to be careful with what we're saying is not to imply that we should. I'm very cautious about using certain words about being trifling and vile and stuff like that, and still trying to eradicate stigma so that people can feel comfortable enough to disclose their status, because it's looked at as a shared responsibility. But when you isolate a group and you make them seem like they are, you know, walking on ice.
I'm not saying if you have HIV,
you're vile. I'm not saying that at all.
I'm saying if you have HIV, you know you have HIV, and having sex with other people, and you're not disclosing, that makes you vile.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
That's a difference, bro.
There's a difference. The same way that, okay, so the universe, the same way that I deal with clinical depression, and when I have a conversation with a woman that I'm dealing with, I let her know from jump, this is what you're gonna deal with. Like I go to therapy a lot. I do a lot of things that help me to be a very healthy person. Okay. But when dealing with me, you have to understand that this comes with it. This is my monkey on my back.
I got
that you're gonna have to deal with.
So let's
that's not the same.
All right, but
it's a lifestyle situation. Okay, yes, it's not contagious. Okay. Yes, but it is something that I disclose from jump. That is what I disclose from jump, because you need to understand what you're getting involved with when you're dealing with me.
Let's go back, because y'all can go back and forth for 8 hours. Yeah. Let's go back. Let's go back to Usher and his herpes situation real quick, because y'all went on the train and just left this other side of the table. So let's do a roundabout and close off, starting from Dontez going toward David. What do you think should happen to Usher currently, and should we forgive him as an entertainer if it is found out indeed that he does have herpes?
Say that question one more time.
What should be done to Usher as an entertainer, and should we as the public forgive him if it is indeed true that he has herpes?
It doesn't matter if you're an entertainer or not. If you knowingly have something and you're not disclosing that to me, you should get criminal or civil. So that's the reason why they chose the civil, because he don't want to get criminalized. Because I think it is illegal for him to not disclose that information. So, and no matter if you celebrity or not, if you knowingly got something, you should pay for it.
And if we find out that he does have herpes, how would you feel? How should the public feel about?
I mean, I don't give a fuck about Usher personally, but okay. I would say that because people look at him as a sex symbol, I would think his image would be tarnished now.
Okay, Levi.
Well, with sex comes STDs, but I can't judge him either way. We'll have to look at the facts of the case and what it comes down to. I want to see on tape someone saying in their sexual contact, hey, do you have any STDs? And I want to hear Usher say no. Otherwise, we don't know what happened when they have sex. In my opinion, it's probably just a bunch of people that are trying to make money and are just lashing onto this, which I think is bullshit. But who are we to judge? I don't think we should STD shame, and hopefully in 5 years we'll have a $10 shot that will cure herpes and HIV, and then Usher will have lost these millions of dollars over nothing.
Okay. I think when you put yourself out there as an icon, as a symbol of whatever kind of symbol we attach to him, I think you do have a certain responsibility when you label yourself as such as well. I mean, the way he presents himself is that he is what people see him as. And so for that, I feel that if he does have an STD, he should be out there letting people know when they do come in contact with each other, because herpes is not curable at this point in time. Outside of that, I love Usher's music. In the last few years, it's been crap, so I don't really care about his music. But I just hope that he's okay, and I hope that he can bounce back, because you have people like him and R. Kelly and Chris Brown that have these crazy situations that occur in their lives, and because they are iconic and popular, we know about it. But they are human just like the rest of us. I don't care if he has herpes, I'm never going to sleep with him, and we'll never sleep with him. But he should protect himself and others if he does have herpes, and it's out there now. I mean, if he gay, just put the closet like the boy from NSYNC did. Came out the closet.
Aaron Carter, yes.
I'm not, and I want to make sure that we're all clear. I am not, status shaming or saying, oh, you got herpes, you're the devil. No, I'm not saying that. And I'm also saying that it is important that if you have anything that impacts someone else's life, I feel like it is important for you to disclose that, and that's what I have a problem with. It's not a problem if you have herpes, okay? Please, I mean, come on, in this community, you're gonna bump into somebody. In the world, you're going to bump into somebody who has something. And it allows me the opportunity to make the choice that do I want to deal with this or do I not want to deal with this? And that what I think is the most important. Because if I want to deal with it, hey, let's do this. It doesn't mean that, and I appreciate the other side that you were saying, Chris, is like, oh, you don't want to, shame anyone into their status, and that's not what I'm attempting to do by no stretch of the imagination. I want people to feel comfortable. I want us to get to this ideal world where I will still be able to not me, but the universe will still be able to embrace all of, our people, regardless of whatever is happening with their lives, whether they are positive or not. Me personally, I have a numerate of friends who are positive. Now I'm not, straight, so I wouldn't have sex with them. So, but I love them just the same, and it's not like, oh God, you're positive. Like, who cares? 2017, come on, who really? If you have somebody who's conscious enough, they don't care. And so, but the problem I have is not saying anything, because that, I feel like you have a responsibility. And yes, that person who's sleeping with you has a responsibility too, but not at the same level. We're talking two different levels of responsibility here. So.
I think I'm going to take a progressive stance on this topic and just look at what the ideal type of logic we should aspire to have in a situation, because medicine is going to advance, society is going to change. Fact of the matter is, when it comes to your sexual health, it is your responsibility. That's an extension of your personal health. It's your responsibility. And when it comes to the Usher situation and the people trying to sue him and all of that, I mean, why didn't you bring a condom? Why didn't you, question yourself? Don't put anything past somebody just because they have money, just because they're an entertainer. Does that mean that they're like squeaky clean because their image is squeaky clean? Like, come on, like, we should be grown adults and be able to think about those things. And I think that by putting too much, I guess, blame on one side of the population doesn't give enough credence and importance to the other side. We're not saying you need to protect yourself. You need to take care of your sexual health. You need to ask questions. You need to be just as mindful. You have to have the same level of care for yourself as you want someone else to have. So.
That's unfair, because if I walked into the situation and I did protect myself and I did wear a condom and I did do all of those things, you're telling me that you should, well, I took all of the precautions I should have taken and you did not disclose, or I said, hey, is everything good, or I didn't ask this specific question, because now we start to get into a very gray area.
Well,
because then if I say no, because if I say, hey, you know, I'm good, are you good, we're all good, and then everybody says no, we're good, but you don't say, oh yeah, by the way, I'm positive. Like, come on, or I have
Let's continue down the line.
We're giving our personal opinion.
Let's continue down the line.
And it's going to be okay.
Okay, so for once, I really agree with Chris. Oh my God.
Yeah.
This is the first. This is the first on Culture Clubb.
People need to know, they need to realize that you have full control of your sexual health. Your responsibility. You know what's out there. You know how to protect yourself. Stop making excuses about things that happen to you.
So if you were raped by a person,
With that said, yes, morally it's wrong not to inform somebody of if you have anything going on that could possibly change, impact, you know, their life. But in reality, you're gonna have to deal with those consequences. So why the hell would you not take care of yourself and your personal responsibility?
And just to be clear, we're not victim shaming or placing blame
that
on
sounds like
others.
victim
No,
shaming.
we're
That
not.
sounds like
We're just
victim
saying, can I finish?
Like
Reclaiming my time.
I was waiting for somebody to say it. Yes.
And then we're just saying it's both parties' responsibility. Yes, you both fucked up. That's all.
You're saying that.
You're saying that.
The three of us are saying that.
Three of us are saying
Very interesting. It's very interesting.
So, we need to rearrange
shout out to Usher and his people that are doing the suing him and all that. Shout out to y'all. Hopefully, I wish y'all the best. I want to talk to the camera and reiterate a little bit, because we danced around on quite a few topics, and this could be its own video. But John L, and I don't know if a lot of you may follow John L on Instagram, very Atlanta popular guy, super sexy, beautiful. He wanted us to go into details a little bit, or just discuss, and it kind of stems from what we're talking about, how everyone has been climbing this social event, this whatever I don't know how to call it or what to call it, but everybody's on PrEP. Well, a lot of individuals are on PrEP now, and it is so much so now that they're taking PrEP and not using a condom anymore, and they're thinking that PrEP is going to protect them from STDs. So he wanted us to talk about that and educate a little bit about that. So Dontez, how do you feel if your partner comes to you and says, I'm on PrEP? Is that AKA let's fuck raw? What does that mean to you?
No, it is something that he's trying to prepare himself not to get HIV. It doesn't mean that he's trying to have sex raw. Now, he just saying that he don't want to catch HIV, because that's what it's on for, to prevent HIV. Not no herpes, chlamydia, and stuff like that. So I'll say he's doing a good job as far as like protecting his health, but it doesn't mean he want to fuck raw. So I don't want people to assume that, oh, because I'm on PrEP, I want to get fucked raw. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that he's taking precaution of himself.
Okay, Levi.
I think that is one of the big problems with PrEP, is that people get on and they kind of feel invincible all of a sudden and just start going around having unprotected sex, completely forgetting about all the other STDs. And yeah, that's a big issue with it.
I don't like medication. I don't like medicine. I don't like pills. And I feel that the best deterrent and the best way for you not to receive an STD is just to not have crazy, nasty, butt raw sex, or to just not have sex, period. And so someone asked me that question the other day. It was like, are you on PrEP? And I said no, and he said, why? I said, because I don't have sex like that anyways, to be concerning myself about HIV or syphilis or herpes or gonorrhea or chlamydia or any of the, I think there's another one called HPC. I don't have time, HPV, I don't have time to be worrying about all of that. So why am I gonna waste my time? She is, and I love it. Mouses, yes. But no, why would I just start taking medication when I'm not even out there? Like, if I'm not having higher risk sex like that, okay, now I'm just gonna get on a pill for what?
But
like,
you should understand out of most people based on your situation earlier. So when a person,
come on, Dontez.
That doesn't make sense though. No, that doesn't make sense. No, so basically what he's saying is just because the condom breaks, or
exactly,
the potential of a condom breaking, I should just be on a pill.
No, what I'm saying
but
is
you know you have to take, you know you have to take that pill every day.
Right, this is what I'm saying. It's all I'm saying, there's nothing wrong for a person who would want to take PrEP to prevent, to catch HIV. That's one of the biggest things in the in the gay community is catching HIV. So that's one preventive way. Why not promote that? And doesn't mean because the person who owns it doesn't mean they want to have unprotected sex. That's an assumption. Don't assume because you want PrEP, you want to have unprotected sex. I'm saying that's another way to prevent of not catching HIV. So, and let condoms do break. So that makes sense to me. Well, to me it makes sense.
I'm not taking a pill if I don't have to.
Yeah, and I agree with that sentiment. Sorry, Dontez.
Yeah,
I was with you all day, but not now. Because I don't think that you should take something in the event something else would happen because you are altering, you know, your system,
that's
your
a
DNA
lot.
and all. It's
that's
just a lot.
What about pregnancy pills? To prevent pregnancy.
Come on, Dontez.
So it makes sense.
People don't take, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. People do that so they prevent to get pregnancy.
Right,
So
but that's not the reason why you should use PrEP.
but
that's not the reason why you should use
But that's them having sex. What I'm saying is, this is what I'm saying. If I'm not having sex, why am I taking a pill? Like,
exactly.
what? Like that doesn't make sense.
That's the reason why, because you are having sex. Doesn't make sense.
Yo,
You're missing what he's saying.
Why you want to have sex?
I said if I'm not having sex.
You said as much.
Oh, child.
Okay. Anyway,
Because
I'm not gonna go back.
I'm done.
Down the line.
Yeah. Before you get to say something, I'm gonna start. So,
all right, Chris.
Wait, can I Kanye the moment real quick?
No.
I'm gonna let you talk, but
anyway, it's interesting that it's only because I have so many gay male friends that I actually even know about PrEP, and I even know like what it is and blah blah blah, because it's really not prevalent at all in the lesbian community. I could talk to 5 lesbians right now and they wouldn't know what the hell PrEP was. They'd be like, what? Huh? So I personally think there's 2 sides of this coin. I think it's a great thing, and I also think that it can also be a detriment because of what you were saying as far as people be walking around thinking they are like invincible and then they can just do anything. And I think it's that, depending on the person's hands that it's in, can be a dangerous situation because that person is not necessarily that person. Yes, to your point of what you were talking about as far as, you know, earlier, putting it on the victim. That's the kind of victim that, okay, I can't really stand behind you because you're walking around here thinking that you know that you got a force field around you. That kind of person, then yes, it's difficult for me to stand behind you and say, yes, it's wrong, it's wrong. However, in the same space, I think it is a wonderful thing if what Dontez was attempting to allude to with was, it was not shame. It was, if I think that I may be in a situation and I may be in a risky situation, or I'm dating someone who is positive and now, you know, we want to move into a different kind of space where we're moving into a raw space and we want to feel each other intimately, blah, blah, blah. Should I take PrEP? That might be a different conversation that they can discuss together or he can deal with, and that's fine. And I'm not in your bedroom, so I can't tell you. So I'm on the fence about. I'm on the fence about promoting it and then not, because of both of those issues that I just mentioned. I want people to feel encouraged and empowered that you could be on PrEP and you could take this, but then in the same space, it's just like, but it's difficult because the people walking around like, like I got that's on my chest and I can do anything. So.
I think if you're gonna be gay, then you should.
If you're gonna be gay.
If you're gonna engage in gay gayness, then I think that you should consider PrEP because of, you know, the statistics, like we live in a world where it's like, as much as even on the pill and you know, being HIV negative, it's just like there's that same bubble mentality that's just like, you know, well, I shouldn't have to worry about this, or I shouldn't have to worry about that. That's what somebody else should have to worry about. But the fact that somebody could be on PrEP and have the same mentality to be able to have raw sex and not consider chlamydia and all of those other things, it shows you why sexual health has to be upheld on both sides. You could put someone on PrEP and then they could all of a sudden not worry about all these other things. What makes them so much different than that HIV positive person?
Because they didn't disclose.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. I'm trying to be careful about what I want to articulate, and I think that it's very important for us to take responsibility for what we can control. So I agree with Dontez today, actually. Yeah.
Interesting.
What?
I think
You heard it live.
What? Can you repeat that twice?
What percent?
What part of what he said?
10%.
well, no, I agree with what he said about PrEP. Like you should, you know, look into that. And it's not like to this point about birth control and stuff. Like there's a certain level of control that you do have. You know, if you're gonna engage in any manner, I think that you should be mindful of the type of sex. And if you don't have sex all the time, then it's a different situation, you know. But
David.
Well, I kind of agree with Dontez and Wes. PrEP is a good thing if, you know, it's a precautionary, it's like a just in case something were to happen. Exactly. But on the other hand, if you're not living that life, then I don't see a need for you to, what are you preparing for? Like, it's called PrEP. What are you preparing for? Like, it's for people that are thinking they're going to engage in certain activities.
I agree with David, and I just want to like add on and say that I think everyone definitely should consider PrEP. If you're a gay man engaging in gay sex, you should consider it. It's not for everyone. If you're, I think Wes is mostly a top, and if you don't have that much sex and you're wearing a condom when you do have sex, what's the point of being on PrEP?
No,
Why?
So we gotta go back.
I want to finish my thought really quick.
Go ahead.
Which is this, that you should definitely consider it, and that I'm not saying that everyone that's on it thinks that they're invincible, but that is something that people who take it need to be aware of and be cautious about. Don't take it thinking that it's a super pill and that you're immune to everything.
It says here, if you use PrEP consistently and correctly, it is 92 to 99% effective in reducing your HIV risk, not stopping it completely. Whether you use a condom or not, PrEP does not protect against STIs like gonorrhea, chlamydia, or syphilis, and does not prevent pregnancy. Duh. Condoms do protect against HIV, STIs, and pregnancy.
Be smart. Be smart.
That's what it says here.
Use your head.
But I don't know. I feel like even if I'm receiving,
I can work with all these apps. So when you talk to me, I
Thanks,
can
Steve. Get it together. Even if I am like, let's just say I am receiving, and the person that's given to me has HIV, and I'm on PrEP, and I feel like I'm good. You know, anything. I'm against the world. Nothing can hurt me. And we decide to have raw sex, and that person decides to ejaculate in my butthole. I do not, for whatever reason, I just don't think that PrEP pill is going to protect me from this positive person that decided to ejaculate in my butthole. And I just don't see a pill protecting me from that. I really don't. I don't care what it says, 92 to 99%.
A person on PrEP doesn't mean they want to have raw sex. Y'all keep saying, oh, they eventually want to have raw sex. They just another way to prove it.
Not everyone, but some people do.
No,
I've witnessed it
firsthand. This is what I'm saying. Every time y'all talk about PrEP, y'all automatically go to raw sex. I'm saying it is not what prevent. We ain't not saying that's what they want to have raw sex.
That's the correct way to use it.
Right, but no,
but not everyone does it that way.
No, you're saying that once you're on PrEP, they want to have sex eventually raw.
Some people, yeah, some people do that.
We're not saying everybody, but some people do. You can't say no because some people do.
No,
you can't say no.
You can't say no. Some people do. And that's why we're talking about.
I think okay.
That's why we're talking about this, Dontez, to let people be aware of people's mentality in this space of I'm on PrEP, so that means. We're letting people know that just because you're on PrEP does not mean that you should be having raw sex with people. So that's what we're letting people know. But at the same time, you do have individuals that believe that just because they're on PrEP, that they're super safe. And that's why I read what I read. It reduces your chances.
Just like how you said, if you're on PrEP, then you shouldn't assume that you can't catch anything. Can you be HIV negative and have the same idea? Like, believe that you can't, is it okay for you to have that same belief?
Wait, what?
Run it back.
I got it.
That ain't connected.
No one got that.
She just said it the whole time.
So if you're on PrEP, then don't assume that you can go out here and have raw sex, right?
You should never assume
that. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Okay, so then if you're HIV negative, don't assume that you can go out here and have raw sex.
Well, you can't be positive and be on PrEP. People that are on PrEP are negative.
Well,
so that's the only way that you can be on PrEP is if
but I'm saying that, what I'm trying to say is that what you're trying to say should just be said across the board.
Right, I get you.
I get what you're saying, and I still say that what he's trying to say is, okay, if you walk into the universe,
go ahead,
I was talking. So he said that if you was in the universe and you were walking around and you said I'm on PrEP, so therefore I should walk and move in a certain way, versus I'm not on PrEP, then I should move in the world the same way that I was moving in the world if I was on PrEP.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to that, to respond to the question, I'm saying to that yes, I don't disagree with that. And I feel like there is a necessary level of disclosure that the person who I'm laying with should have in communicating that there's something else that they're dealing with, and it should not all be on one person. Yes, I'm walking into this universe and I'm saying, okay, well, I'm going to protect myself and I'm going to take these precautions. But let's talk about that same person who's taking all of these precautions. We actually do have sex using a condom. The condom breaks. You did not disclose.
I wasn't going to go next.
That's unfair.
Are you finished or are you done?
I'm done.
God. What I think Chris was saying is, you know, everybody has their mentality, everything's all good until something happens. So you should treat yourself like anything can happen, whether you're on PrEP, whatever goes on, because that's the reality of the world we live in.
Because I want to push the narrative forward another step. How do we eradicate stigma when it comes to HIV or
education?
By having roundtable discussions.
I think
and education, really.
Education,
logo, yes.
Education is important, but I think we also have to figure out what narrative are we trying to say to everybody, because when you are stigmatizing one population, then you are saying separate but equal, or you're saying that, you know, like, how can we put everything so that it is able to be on the table, that it is able to be talked about, because we do have a lot of people in the gay community who deal with it. So I think it's important to talk about, when we're talking about disclosure, we have to talk about stigma and how do we eradicate that.
I think it's very difficult to, I think it should be encouraged for us to have conversations like this amongst the people that we're generally around, but it becomes a difficult situation up until someone actually is now placed in that person's shoes. I've come across plenty of individuals that have had HIV, so it's been my responsibility as a person, as a human, to try to even understand what that person had to have gone through, or was going through, or is going through. And so I then put myself in their shoes and say, what if, Wes? What if when that condom broke, because when I tell you I was depressed and stressed and crying and oh my God, I got HIV and now I'm about to be a statistic, I'm another black gay male to blah, blah, blah. I was calling my mother, everybody up in there. I was going through it. But that's when I started to educate myself on it, doing more research, and that's when I started to come around more and more people that are living, thriving, healthy, looking way better than me with HIV or whatever the case may be. And then I realized that, okay, it's not an immediate death sentence. And there are specific ways to contract the virus. You can't just go around kissing people and you have HIV. You can't just go around giving blowjobs and you have HIV. You can catch something else, but HIV is just not that it. So you have to educate yourself and then put yourself in that person's shoes. And then wonder, how would you deal? How would you get through? Would you want, if, let's just say, hypothetically speaking, Dontez, you walk down that road one time and you vibing with somebody and you feeling somebody and y'all mutually connect and you don't know, just yesterday, they had butt raw, naked, nasty sex with somebody else. They didn't disclose that information to you because the person that they just had sex with yesterday said that they were negative. Well, let's just say they didn't know their status because they got tested 2 years ago and they were negative 2 years ago. So now those two people sleep together, butt raw, naked, nasty sex. Now this person that you're loving or liking on comes to you and y'all, because you trust him, okay? You trust him and y'all have butt raw, naked, nasty sex. Now, 3 months down the line, you end up with HIV. You see what I'm saying?
That's a different.
Hold on.
We're not talking about
listen. I'm just saying. No, this is what I'm just saying. Because to Chris's point, we're trying to get away from separating and isolating and criminalizing and like we're trying to get away from that. And what I'm simply saying is that it's very difficult for us as no shade, but us as a black gay culture to get away from these things, because as soon as you see those 3 letters, it's negative right above that. That's a negative thing, red flag. Like nowadays, even in general population, you can't for the life of me walk past and be like, oh my God, do you know? Oh really? I ain't trying to touch that anyway. Like people still have those kinds of conversations. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that we still have these kind of conversations, but that's why a lot of individuals don't want to disclose their information because they don't want to be walking around with that scarlet letter. So back to what I was saying, if you, for whatever reason, decided to have sex with this person and you end up positive, do you think today that you can currently still be a person that could operate amongst others and be pro-choice for people being, disclosing their information and letting people know and all that?
All day.
It's easy to say that because you're negative. And that's the point. That's what I'm trying to say. It's easy to say that because you're negative.
That's not true.
It really is.
It's not true. I can't speak in the space of having HIV, but I can definitely speak in the space of having other things that are just kind of like, oh, bitch, yeah. And I still will be like, look, that's the gamble that I have to take, but I have to be able to communicate these things to someone because I don't even want to even go down that road. Like, so, no, I'm going to sit in this space and say, I'm not talking about someone who you had sex, you don't know, blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking about that. I am specifically talking about if you do know, then yeah, you got a responsibility. The same way I have a responsibility to tell a woman that I'm dating, this is what you're going to deal with when you deal with me. Like, there might be days I just break down and cry for no ass reason. Like, yes, I understand that you're like, oh, it's not the same thing. But it's important to disclose what's going on with you or what you could bring to this person's life. Because though it's not a communicable disease or something like that, it is enough that that person is going to change their life if they decide they want to do it.
We've established that. That is but the question is now.
If I had herpes, if I had
back to the point.
A yeast infection. If I had a yeast infection, I still would be like, bitch, I gotta
The question right now is, do you as a person sit in a space to where you can be empathetic to that person that is possibly that has that STD. That's what Chris is saying that we should do as a people, is bring more awareness to what people potentially do go through, because it is a lot. And in today's world,
it can happen to anybody.
Yeah, and it can happen to anybody, and no one is invincible. And so if it does happen to you, are you able to live in that space that someone else has been living in? Because 15, 20, we got people out here 15, 20 years been living with this. So
can I just...
we only got 5 minutes left.
I need to rewind really fast. I have to do this because it's been weighing on me. About 10 minutes ago, you said that people can't get HIV from blowjobs, and I want to check you on that and say that yes, you can. It is rare, but it does happen. If someone ejaculates in your mouth and you have like a cut throat, you can get HIV from blowjobs. So we need to correct that.
Right.
But as far as like living in the space and getting back to that topic, I want to say yes. But it's hard to say, like, because it is life-changing, and if I were to be diagnosed, I don't know how I would respond to that without it actually happening.
That's a real answer.
It's hard to shit.
So wait, so my answer wasn't a real answer?
No, because you circled back to shit that you were talking about 20 minutes ago.
It's funny, because I was trying to get you back, and I was like, but since we already discussed that, so let's go. So listen, because we're going to wind down on this episode, because we were supposed to talk about Colin Kaepernick. So we've talked about a lot on this particular episode. I'm not a specialist in the field. I don't know everything and anything, and all the information that I need to know is from Google and research and life. Okay, I'm not a specialist. I don't think anyone on here on this panel is a specialist. So if I've said anything, like he corrected me on the oral situation that was incorrect, then I can completely go back and concur with what he just said, because I wasn't specific enough in divulging that information. I just blurted it out. But at the same time, I want you out there to know.
Let me tell you something about Wes. I don't always agree with Wes, but when I feel like Wes is in the pocket with his shit, I be like, come on.
I'm like, what is he saying? I'm like, I'm hearing him.
He's like, come on, where we go?
But if you do have any STD or HIV or whatever, and I'm gonna give everybody a chance to close off on this episode, but if you do have something, do know that you should put yourself around people that can empathize and be understanding to what it is that you're going through. And if for whatever reason you are surrounded by individuals that you feel that if you were to disclose your status, that they would shame you or whatever, those are not the type of people that you need to be around, because in today's day, if they don't understand all facets of what it is that you're going through remotely, then you really need to put yourself around better people. Yep. And that's how I'll close off this episode. Anybody have anything they want to say real quick?
Agreed.
All right.
Well, I kind of wanted to say.
Right.
I just want people to know that, you know, the HIV thing is not a death sentence. The disclosure thing, you should never feel like awkward or uncomfortable disclosing your status to somebody, especially somebody you really care for.
Yes.
People have relationships where one person's positive, one person's negative, and one person stays negative.
Yeah.
So, just something to think about.
Yeah, I agree. I think medicine is moving and it's advancing a lot, and I think that's very important for the HIV positive population to stay strong, to adhere to your medication, and to just hang in there, because I think the topic is going to become less tumultuous in the very near future.
A cure's on the way.
Yes, and soon it'll be just as okay as if you got gonorrhea, and it's just like, okay. Well, this is the thing. When the whole reason we're having this conversation, the whole reason we're having this particular conversation is because one is not curable and one is. So
that's your perspective.
Wrap it up. Thank you guys for tuning in to Culture Clubb, sharing this episode all over the place. Love you guys.